Good day, good people of the interwebs. Today we are here live to talk to you about something that has bothered us for quite some time now. Now we're going to talk about Israel Folau and the way that he has been treated. But we're also going to talk about, well, the whole situation around it, to be honest. Oh, and John wanted to share some things with you guys.
In a bit. So
I'm going
we'll
to
just
remind.
introduce it first.
So I'm going to remind John to hide his face. We don't want to scare the people.
Well, I'm going to do screen sharing so they won't see my face.
Well, fair enough then.
But yes, I will. Well, Michael Keller's not here tonight, so he's the one who most offended by my appearance.
And hi there, Paolo. And Michael Keller unfortunately left us. I'm not sure if Anxious is still listening in. She had to go to work, so there is that. And you've already started sharing stuff, so you want me to...
Well, I'm sharing it with you.
Yes, do you want me to put
in
it out?
the Hangout, and then you can control the sharing to the world.
Do you want me to put it out to the world?
Well, as I say, when we have got past the preamble, perhaps.
All right, I'll leave it as it is.
Well, it's up to you. That's what I'm saying. You're in control.
Oh, in that case, there it goes. Then people can look at what we want to talk about with them. So, hi there, Toxic Threats. Today we're going to have John bring forth the following. The persecution of Christians, or... Yeah.
Well, Israel Folau as an example of the persecution of Christians. Because it reveals all kinds of bigotry, hypocrisy, etc., etc. It also touches on the problem of the lack of a path to redemption, which many have brought up before me. So I will not pretend that this is at all an original thought of mine, but this is an important issue. Mm-hmm. What do you do when you've done something wrong, you've paid for that sin in some way, and then you're not allowed to have any life, any recovery, earn a living, do what you do because of something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, under any circumstances, I don't find that acceptable.
Yeah, it is somewhat worrying.
We rehabilitate murderers.
Yeah.
But we cannot rehabilitate someone for saying something mean.
And in this case, something that you could not even consider mean. Because let's be honest, had he been of any other religion that shared the same values, and there are a few, then no one would have batted an eye. But now, because he's a Christian, somehow what he says goes beyond the pale. It's
it's hypocrisy.
It's the hypocrisy. It's the blatant double standard. But then again, I've said this many a time, if it weren't for double standards, the SJWs had no standards at all.
But what's concerning about this particular story isn't that it's the SJWs, because it's not SJWs.
No, that is true.
Which brings me, because this only came out yesterday. This is why I'm talking about it now. This came out yesterday. This is an article from the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
Israel Folau, Hull Kingston Rovers, that's what KL stands for. Hull Kingston Rovers, who are a rugby league club from the city of Hull in the United Kingdom, England. Hull Kingston Rovers lead Super League revolt over new Catalans Dragons signing. Hull Kingston Rovers are leading a revolt, blah, blah, blah. Correspondence delivered last week to Catalans warning them of legal action was sent by Hull Kingston Rovers owner. In an email obtained by the BBC, Neil Hudgell wrote to the Dragons to put them on notice if his club suffered financial loss due to the signing of Folau. I reserve my position to take proceedings via Catalan Dragons. Outlining the circumstances in which that might happen, the Hull Kingston Rovers chairman added, for example, if title sponsor withdraws or external investment is not secured. That's a dangerous one.
Yeah, right? Because there are millions of reasons why that could happen.
Exactly. Or quantifiable reputational damage is caused. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? Quantifiable reputational damage.
Well, I guess what he means is if they play against the Catalans Dragons and they completely and utterly destroy their team.
No. Sorry.
That would damage their looks.
No, sorry. Quantifiable reputational damage is caused to the brand of Super League and its members.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So what does that mean? Quantifiable reputational damage. You can't quantify reputation anyway. We know that reputation in business is important, but quantifying it, no chance. That's bullshit. Anyway, several other clubs subsequently told the Dragons they supported Hudgell's stance and would also consider legal action for damages. In other words, dogpiling. Mm-hmm. It is also understood some believe they were not sufficiently consulted before the highly controversial signing was announced. As in, what the fuck business is it of theirs? One team in a league should consult with the competitors over who they sign. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So, according to one senior club source, nearly all, weasel words, the Super League clubs have now endorsed Hudgell's threat.
Now, that's the one thing that I find interesting, and hi, they're ludicrous, by the way. That's the one thing I find interesting, whether it's nearly all or just some. If I were the Catalans, blah team, Dragons, the Dragons, right?
Yeah.
And then my response would be a countersue. How dare you imply to have any rights to force me in my sovereign dealing with whomever I want to deal with?
Yes, exactly. This is my point. It's like this thing about being consulted. None of your business.
But if they then organize, then that's a good reason to start a class action lawsuit against those people.
Yeah. Well, so how did we get here? Folau was sacked for homophobic social media posts. The 30-year-old was dismissed for saying, "Hell awaits gay people." Right, so I'm going to get to his actual tweets in a minute.
Yeah, because he said way more than that.
Yes, it didn't pick on gay people, which is what this is implying. And it's saying it's homophobic. And it's not a homophobic tweet, because these people are ignorant, don't know what they're talking about. And then they keep talking because, basically, Israel Folau played rugby union in Australia and for Australia. He was their biggest star. After this first happened, 9 months ago, April 2019, he was sacked by Rugby Australia.
Which, to be honest, was a crime too, but yeah.
And that's where we all first heard about this. But here's the thing. Because he, a rugby player, for expressing his sincere Christian beliefs, right? So free speech, freedom of religion, etc., okay?
Mm-hmm.
Was counted as not holding the values of Rugby Australia. Now, I know I'm a freak, but an abstract body like an organisation for rugby doesn't have beliefs. The people in the organisation have the beliefs.
Yeah. Well, you could argue that the organisation does stand to have beliefs as well.
No. If they right. No, 1 minute, moderator. Sorry. If they publish a set of beliefs and you have to sign up to that set of beliefs in advance, so it has your consent, fine. But they don't do that.
No, they don't have to do that. That's not the interesting part of it. I mean, whether they have ideological, ideological background in anything, it says something about them.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can have whatever merit-based, whatever you want to call it, background you want. But once you start forcing that on others, then you're no longer an open society, you're a totalitarian society.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about society, we're talking about a sport.
Well, I mean, this is true for society. This is true for any form of organization.
Yeah.
If that organization is a sport or a national organization of that sport, then again, you're going from an open society to a totalitarian one. Or in this case, a totalitarian organization for rugby.
No, but sorry. They are saying Rugby Australia has values.
Which is completely fine.
Which they've never published.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
John, you don't have to shout, mate. Come on.
No, it does matter.
The point is not so much whether they have values, yes or no. The point is, does everyone within the Rugby League need to uphold said values?
But that is what they're saying.
Yeah, but that's new to the whole story. Because they never...
No. That's the whole reason for them saying it doesn't... No, the whole reason for the action was because what he said didn't fit with the values. There was a causal link.
Yes, but they never claimed that they had any values others were supposed to uphold.
Thank you, that's what I said. They'd never declared them in advance.
And therefore, they should not be allowed to force people to hold the same views as they feel important.
Thank you, this was my whole point.
Because if they do so, they're totalitarian.
No, this is my whole point.
I know, that's why I agreed with you, but you kept saying no.
Well, you didn't sound like you were agreeing with me, you sound like you... Anyway, the point being that how can a body, an organisation, claim to have values when they have not formally drafted and sought the consent of those within the organisation, the players? After all, without the players, there is no Australian rugby or Rugby Australia.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, you don't abide by our values. And to me, it is illegitimate for them to claim those to have values. Because it's a sport. It's the performing of against a set of rules for a sport. It's not a social movement. So the whole concept of having values, I'm sorry.
No, that's true.
And that's what I was trying to say. It's illegitimate for them to claim values because it's a sport. You know,
it doesn't matter. I agree, but it doesn't matter what kind of organization it is. The problem is not so much that they are an organization for X, Y, or Z. The problem is they dare to assume that they have a right to say how everyone within all organizations attached to that organization have to think about certain things.
Yeah, that was my point, that it was illegitimate for them to have values.
Yeah, so it's extremely authoritarian.
And I'm saying that as far as I'm concerned, and I don't care whether it is a sport or a business or anything, what somebody's personal beliefs are none of their fucking business.
Yeah. Shall I show the original tweet?
No, I'm getting there. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm getting there. Okay, so, because there is a sequence to this. So, my point is, this is the current impetus, that the people involved in British Rugby League, and I say British because the Catalans are based in France and Spain, okay? And we also have a team from Toronto in Canada. But such is the nature of sport these days. The English Super League includes teams from outside England and even Britain. But anyway, so I'll find the right one. Jeez. Or I won't find the right one. Has this got it in it? Sorry. No, this hasn't got it in it.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for the tweet because
You
I
want-
had got all these bloody things organised.
You want me to share it?
No, because it's in here. It's in here. There we go.
There you go. That's the one. Well, that's the image that he tweeted.
Well, okay. So the first thing is background. Israel Folau had made a Instagram post and gotten into trouble for it. He had then signed a contract with Rugby Australia to say he wouldn't do it again. Then he posts this tweet. So this wasn't his first crime.
Well, if he signed a contract saying that he wouldn't post tweets like this, yeah, then they do have a leg to stand on. Let's be honest.
No, but we're talking about different things. You see, that was with Rugby Australia. That has nothing to do with the Rugby League in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because
or indeed in Spain.
Sports. Yeah, well, they're different sports, and as we will go through, he was punished for what he did here. He was sacked by Rugby Australia. And the question is redemption and forgiveness, which is ironic when we talk about Christian. But, okay, so this is a tweet. You can all read it. Now, what this tweet is actually a re-expression of something from the Bible.
Yeah.
It is from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 and 10, if I remember. There we go. Yes. So this is what it actually says in the King James Version. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. Now, you can argue that the two lists are not identical because, wrong window, there we go. Because there is nothing about atheists in there. It actually says idolaters, meaning pagans.
Yeah.
Not atheists. And it actually says atheists and idolaters. So he retains the idolaters and then he's added atheists. Well, there's nothing in atheists about that. Though atheists were generally hated in the ancient world, even amongst the polytheists of ancient Greece. Now, this is the King James Version. One of the problems we have is that of translation. I found this article and it was very interesting to me because it talks about the ambiguity of the translations from the original Greek. And it hinges on two words, malakoi and arsenokotai. I'm sorry, that is so amusing that it is arsenokotai. And I apologise for the pronunciation of the second word. Apparently, it's a very rare word, even in ancient Greek.
Arsenokotai. Kotal.
Trust me, it's a rare word.
Arsenokoital.
So this is a translation from the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible, which I'm going to contrast with the King James Version just above it. So the King James is verses 9 and 10. This is the standard version. Do you not know that wrongdoers will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, male prostitutes, sodomites, thieves, the greedy, drunkards, revilers, robbers. None of these will inherit the kingdom of God. Now, you might notice they're not directly the same list. So we start the same. Fornicator, idolater, adulterers, yeah. Male prostitute instead of effeminate. Abusers of themselves with mankind become sodomites.
It makes you wonder whether female prostitutes can go to heaven.
Well, this actual article is actually quite interesting, and I will go down to that in a minute. And this is okay. So I'm an atheist. I don't have a dog in the fight of scripture. I believe in the right to free speech, and I believe in the right to freedom of conscience. And if somebody's religion says something, I believe in their right to believe that something and to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they should be punished for it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, because those are the principles. And the very fact that this is accused of being anti-gay, which if we look at the list, hello, atheists, I'm an atheist. Do you see me getting upset?
Yeah, but let's be honest.
I'm defending him.
But let's be honest, if we look at the whole list, there's only one group of people that got up in arms.
Yeah.
And it weren't the drunks, it weren't the adulterers, it weren't the liars, it weren't the fornicators, it weren't the thieves, it weren't the atheists, and it weren't the idolaters. And I'm going to say not all homosexuals care about this either. It's the SJWs being upset for other people.
It's the virtue signalers.
The virtue signalers.
So, but here's the point. Okay, so from another couple of posts Israel made, I'll just bring this up quickly. Right, so there's this one. But seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Yeah.
Matthew 6:33. This is the King James Bible, and that is literally what it says. So we know he is using the King James Bible for that one.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one he did. It's not that one.
But in all fairness, the image that he sent out, the one that we showed a moment ago, I'm not even sure he made that image. I'm merely thinking
No, that's
it.
not the point. That's not the point. And then in this one, where was it? There was a thing from... Oh, here we go. Sorry. Now the works of the flesh are manifest. And he puts KJV. And indeed, if we go to those verses... And this section, this is Galatians. The first one was Corinthians. Basically echoes the same sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are several ones.
Yeah, but it's essentially the same sentiment, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he explicitly says this is the King James Version. So there is no doubt. The first thing was a reworded list, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one was anyone could have made the image. But here he has posted it, and he says in his post it's the King James Version. So we know that he is familiar and works from the King James Version.
Mm-hmm.
Just to avoid any ambiguity that arises from the problem in translation. Because there are problems in translation.
Well, yeah. there always are, unfortunately.
And so I just the reason it's probably because I like language, but one of the problems is, right, if you say, oh, Christians believe in the Bible. No, the Christians tend to believe in whichever translation of the Bible their particular branch of the faith uses.
Yeah.
And
Which is true for nearly all religions, let's be honest.
No, but so what it actually means is an individual believer has their beliefs shaped by the translator.
Yeah.
And so Israel Folau, there's another thing where he became born again. He goes into Christianity. So he's a sincere believer.
Mm-hmm.
But what he sincerely believes is itself shaped by how the Bible was translated. Mm-hmm. And so is that his fault? If he's a sincere believer, he should be able to believe sincerely.
Yeah, in whatever he wants.
I mean, there's even a quote in one of these. It might be this one.
Might be. That's convincing.
I am a proud Christian. My beliefs are personal. My intention is not to hurt anyone, and I will not be making further public comments about them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a thing about his colleagues in here somewhere. But probably not in that post. This is the only trouble with looking up a lot of posts.
Yeah.
But the thing was that he was saying, I've got teammates, and they're all, and that includes gay ones and whatever, and I've got no problem with them. But it doesn't matter. He sinned.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting topic in itself. I mean, I had a talk with a Christian. I think he was Catholic. I can't remember, and he was gay. He was a pastor, but he was gay. And he was like, "Yeah, you know what? This is the cross I'm bearing. Being gay is not the problem. Acting on it is." Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting, but. Yeah.
But yeah, he I say, because again, in these things, what is always lost straight away is the voice of the person being vilified.
Yeah.
And it's important to spread the voice of the person being vilified, not as anything more than to give them an opportunity to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
To correct the vilification, misrepresentation, slanders, libels, and other defamations.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, as Australians, we are born with certain rights, including the right to freedom of religion and the right to freedom of expression. The Christian faith has always been a part of my life, and I believe it is my duty as a Christian to share God's word. Upholding my religious beliefs should not prevent my ability to work or play for my club or country.
True.
And this is my position. It's easy to defend the speech of people you agree with.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Either it's free speech for all or it's free speech for none.
Yeah. And that's why it's such an important battle to oppose what these rugby clubs are doing to somebody for words, for an opinion, and not even his opinion, quoting the effing Bible.
Yeah. But that's the funny part of the whole thing. I mean, they're not interested in wanting to know what you think. They're interested in telling you what you're allowed to think.
Yeah.
And somehow people still fall for that. I don't know why that happens, though. I don't know why they get to decide for other people.
Yeah, well, yeah, as I say, it's you know, we know from certain examples that if people grow a spine and stand up to the bullies and refuse to apologise, they win.
But yeah,
And to his credit,
that's a big if, though.
Yeah, but to his credit, that's what Folau has done.
Yeah.
Right? But to their eternal shame, it's the opposite of what the Rugby League people are doing now.
How do you mean?
Well, because they're threatening with the right to make a lawsuit in the event of adverse consequences.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a threat. It's blackmail.
It is.
It's just a threat, blackmail. Because they're not saying anything has happened. They're saying, well, we're so worried that this will be bad. Or why are you worried?
Yeah.
If you came out with a stalwart defence of free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, you wouldn't have to be afraid. Because I'll tell you something, the majority of rugby league supporters in the United Kingdom are working class men, and they don't give a fuck about any of this.
No. Nor should they, let's be honest.
Nor should they, because it's rugby. It's not it's not politics.
Yeah,
it's
not
not social justice.
It's not politics, not social justice, it's not religion. It's a friggin' game. Come on, people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they used to say about keeping politics out of sport. Where has that gone?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they stopped that, funny enough, when social justice warriors became more and more vocal and found their way into the different politics of the world. Because let's be honest, once look at the Olympic Games. The whole idea of the Olympic Games was to let everyone from around the world compete with each other to try and create bridges based on sports through religion and politics. And now we have religion and politics telling you that you can't build bridges based on religion and politics because, and as such, they are blocking people from actually growing into stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, this is what I thought was interesting. So this guy, don't ask me, he's probably a progressive, Reverend Dr. Jonathan Talon, New Testament lecturer and early church researcher. Okay, so he's looking into the two words that seem to be causing the problem of translation. So he's saying adulterers translates moi choi or something, and the other word is arsenokotai.
Yeah, Malakoi and what was it? I can't see the word now. You scrolled it. There you
it's there. Arsenokotai.
Malakoi and arsenokoitai.
Kotai. Yeah. Right. So he looks at both words in some detail, and the first word is really ambiguous. The word literally means soft, and therefore its translation to something like adulterer is entirely subjective, and he explains why. So he's saying malakos, which literally means soft, and he used the word in context of John the Baptist. The word was used in the Bible in the context of John the Baptist compared to those who dressed in malakos robes. Okay. And he's saying soft has a variety of meanings in ancient Greek. It could mean effeminate. But that could not just be gay. It could also mean weaker.
Yeah.
And he's comparing it in Roman times. It could refer to those who acted in a dissolute way. The lazy, the cowardly, the idle rich, sleeping around with any woman available. See, it's not about gayness. Think of playboys or Christian 18th century dandies. If a man spent too much time caring about how he looked and then being led by his lust, that was effeminate, soft, malakos.
Yeah, you shirked your responsibility.
Yeah. But it was nothing to do with being gay. That's the point. It
No.
was morally weak.
Yeah.
This is the conclusion of the author. Then it comes on to the other one, arsenokoites. What about the other term, arsenokoitai, the plural of arsenokoites? Here we have almost the opposite problem of the other word, which is widely used, in that it says here, Paul's use of the word is the earliest they have on record. And it was only infrequently used afterwards, and often only when quoting Paul anyway. So what did it mean? So he said one approach is to look at its etymology, what the word is made up of. It says two halves. Arseno comes from the word meaning male, not man. And that's significant. I think he means significant. And koites coming from a word meaning bed. But in Greek, as in English, bed was sometimes a euphemism for intercourse. Mm-hmm. In this fact, this is where the word coitus comes from. So this would suggest a male bedder. But working out meaning this way is dangerous. A cupboard doesn't necessarily have cups inside. The chairman of the board doesn't necessarily refer to an item of furniture. And as for butterflies, another approach is to work out where the word came from. Possibly here it is from the Greek version of Leviticus 20:13, where you get both the word arsenos and koiton. But again, this may tell us about the history of the word, but not how it's actually used in practice. Just looking at the construction of the word and its possible source from Leviticus suggests it is referring to those who bed males. But those who bed males, not men, as in biological males of any age. Mm-hmm. So it says, in the ancient world, overwhelmingly, the common form of male-male intercourse was the violation of boys, slaves, and prostitutes.
Yeah.
Pederasty. Whenever Philo... Sorry.
Yeah, which is a problem in itself.
Yeah. But this is what he's getting to. Evidence that when it's referred to in the context of that list earlier, it wasn't referring to homosexuality. It was specifically referring to pederasty. And that's what it goes to refer to. So in other words, it was a specific abuse of boys, of children, that was being criticized. Mm-hmm. Whenever Philo, a Jewish rough contemporary of Paul, refers to male-male intercourse, he means with boys. That is when he doesn't refer to practices associated with goddess worship. Pederasty would have been the default assumption for what was meant. And then he says how he did a background to Romans 1 where he explains this more. Mm-hmm. And he said, looking at the context in which arsenokoites is used elsewhere suggests that violent economic oppression may also be part of its meaning. Some of the earliest occurrences outside of the Bible include it with economic vices rather than sexual ones. Given the slave trade in boy prostitutes in the ancient world, perhaps this is not surprising. Pederasty as the meaning is also suggested by other early Christian literature, which also includes lists of vices similar to those in Paul's letter, but uses the word paedophoria, child corruption, to refer to pederasty. And he lists a number of quotes that give a list of things that won't get into heaven, and where they use the term for paedophoria instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to pronounce that one either.
No. But So as you can see, so he's saying, okay, St. Paul came up with this really weird word that didn't really catch on, but in similar lists, they use this other word whose meaning is clearer. And he says, notice that these are general lists that sum up a wide range of wicked activities broadly. Pederasty was so common that it appears as a main item in many lists.
Yeah.
So he thinks that bedding males means violating boys.
Well, could be.
No, I am not here. I am not here to make commentary on religious scripture. I am here, from my interest of language, to point out the perils of translation and taking translations which are value judgments on the translator's part too literally. And saying it says X when it doesn't. Because the X in question is actually in a ancient foreign language.
Yeah.
But people conflate a particular translation with the original. And goodness knows how often I've heard the argument about the Virgin Mary. That she wasn't a virgin. Because the Greek for the term wasn't virgin. It meant young woman.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not here to say what's correct. I'm here to point to the ambiguity and find it interesting that it is possible, and I don't know if this analysis is correct, it could be cherry-picked, it could be biased. But this analysis points to an alternative meaning of what the original scripture said.
Yeah.
And that, my lord, is enough to cast doubt on the accusation against my client.
But that's the thing, though, and it is somewhat... I think the word I'm looking for is worrisome, bothersome, that a handful of people can decide what is and is not acceptable for a society.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
a worry. It's this man who was sacked by Rugby Australia. Okay, so he was punished for that tweet. He lost his livelihood, his ability to represent his country. And so, after a suitable length of time, he has sought to change sports. Okay, it's only a different form of rugby, but it's still a change of sport. And now, the eternally outraged, whether activists or corporate cowards, are seeking to prevent him. And I find that unconscionably bad.
No, I agree.
But because this isn't in the games or comic movies, it doesn't get talked about in our part of YouTube, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because I think this is very important.
Yeah, I can.
Well, you know.
No, but it is. I agree. It is.
Yeah, people talk about those comedians, Louis C.K. and that other guy, the Indian guy who had the bad day. And they talk about their inability to, or not their inability, but the refusal of the social justice lot to forgive them and let them back into society. But this is a rugby player who simply expressed a version of what it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
And to suffer sanction for that, to me, is utterly disgusting.
Yeah,
under the principle.
You're basically telling someone you're not allowed to have this belief.
Yeah. Oh, what fringe belief is that? Christianity. The foundation of our whole modern society. But hey, fuck that.
But at the same time, had he been a Muslim, no one would have cared. Then again, in all fairness, the reason why they care is not because he believes it. It's because he shows people that he believes this.
Yeah. And somebody has pointed this out. The Honey Badgers did it in relation to American football yesterday on a stream. One of the problems is, as I say, I'm one of the few people in our space, and that includes all the social justice people who gives a toss about sport. Right?
Yeah.
But they have noticed the influence of sport. And because, even though they know nothing about it, they have noticed the influence, they go after the leading figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that he was Australian rugby's biggest star matters.
Yeah, well, it's just, and this is something that's happening. I mean, if we're looking in the social media side of things, when they went after what's his face? I forgot his name now. Alex Jones. They tested the waters if they could do it. Well, they could. So then they went after Milo Yiannopoulos and a whole slew of people. And basically, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Can we go after someone? Can we get away with trying to force people to think in a certain direction? And apparently they can. Yeah. To me, I never understood. I mean, the second time, well, in all fairness, he signed a contract where Folau said he wouldn't send stuff like that. I probably never even signed that, but that would be me. But because he signed it, they actually have a case.
No.
Had he not signed it, they wouldn't have had a case against him.
No, but my point is this. We're not talking about that. He signed a contract with Rugby Australia, which is rugby union. He got sacked by Rugby Australia.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well,
that's separate. That is history.
Yeah. This
is another sport in another country.
Yeah. But, at the same time, there is something seriously wrong with the whole idea of this is how it's supposed to be. You have to do what we say, because if you don't, well, we'll find a way to harm you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I say, it's this whole. We've had this in football for a long time. Mm-hmm. This bringing the game into disrepute as a catch-all offence, which means that anyone who plays for the sport, the governing body can prosecute for using this vague, nebulous concept. Mm-hmm. You brought the game into disrepute.
Yeah, and let's be honest, if we look at what happened in America, the reality shows us that the way that the Rugby League acted on Folau would probably have damaged the sport more than Folau.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get your average Australian, and it will not always, but mostly be working class men or regular men who support the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get them really pissed off at the social justice mob, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. Keep attacking people.
Well, and for simply expressing the views of religion.
Yeah. But for now, they can get away with it because for now, it's still popular to bitch and moan against Christians.
Well, because they're fanatical and they're organised.
Well, the question is how long that will remain. Because in all fairness, I do believe that we are going through a transitional phase where people are more like, you know what? You cannot constantly attack one religion for something other religions share with them, but then not mention it for those other religions.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And why should one man, right, be made to pay? That's the question. Why should this one man be persecuted? And I use that word in its proper sense. He is being persecuted.
Yeah.
They destroy his life for simply expressing his sincerely held beliefs.
Yeah.
And they can be wrong, but hey, that's free speech. You get the free speech to argue against him.
Yeah. You're allowed to make a fool of yourself.
But they can't argue against him because all he's saying is what's in the Bible, and that's a fact.
Well, it's a fact that it stands in that it's been mentioned in the Bible. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they can't say, "Oh, but it doesn't say that," because it does.
Yeah.
So they have to attack him for saying it.
Quite annoying.
Which shows you that they don't have any real grounds, because they'd be able to attack. They would, when people say, "Oh, it was offensive," as various people have said, and your point is, so you're offended. Whoopee-doo.
Yeah. So what?
So what?
I keep saying when someone says to me that's offensive, well, then are you now taking offense? How dare you take something that isn't yours? Offense is mine to give, not yours to take, and I didn't give it to you. You took it.
No, offence is taken, not given. So technically, they are. It requires the positive.
No. I mean,
taking.
You can give offence. It's linguistic. It's rubbish. I understand, but you can say, "Well, I'm giving offence to something." I mean, you're making a point. You want to make a point more poignant.
Poignant.
Yeah, give it extra leverage to make it mean something more, I guess. Never really made sense to me. I'll not try to pretend. But offense is taken.
Yeah, it's taken, not given. This is my point. It takes an act, a will to be offended.
Yeah, so you're taking something from me. If you feel I have offended you, you take offense. It's not yours to take, it's mine to give. If I'm not giving it, you're not getting it.
And this is why I call them the perpetually offended, because they have a ritualistic or what's the word? It's something they do habitual behavior of finding things to be offended by.
Yeah.
As a conscious act.
Yeah.
The Anita Sarkeesian approach.
Yeah. And you have to point it all out, obviously.
Because everything's racist, everything's sexist, and you have to point it all out.
Yeah.
Or not.
No, you have to point it all out. No, you do. Yeah, you do. Because
but it's also reasons? Demonstrates the insanity. And I know we all know this, and I know I'm just enunciating a well-known thought, but it shows the utter inconsistency and inherent contradictions of their belief system.
Mm-hmm.
That you know, all cultures are equal, and you can't attack people's culture. Well, they just attacked his.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all cultures are equal, but mine are just a little bit more equal than yours.
Yeah, but as we can see here, a famous evil white male who's not white. He's from Tonga. He's of Tongan descent, Polynesian.
He's not your average white guy.
He's not a white guy. There's nothing. You cannot get much further in the world from Europe than Polynesia. It is literally the other side of the world.
Mm-hmm. But you're not supposed to realize that. You're definitely not supposed to point it out.
I mean, seriously, you could put him in Arabic garb and your average SJW wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
True. But now you try to make them make sense.
No, I don't. I never try and make them make sense.
Well, yeah, because it's never going to happen.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny. You think all the Islamists would be out in his defense.
Well, nah, probably not. Let's be honest.
Well, they believe the same thing.
True, but he's a Christian, so he's a kafir, so they don't care about him.
Well, it depends. The attitude of Islam to other peoples of the book.
No, he's still a kafir. So it's not just about being of the book.
Well, as I say, it's complicated. Sometimes they support other people of the book, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. My personal experience is usually they don't. But that's my personal experience. So take that.
Oh, no, of course not. But then, thought and reason and things are all tools of the white male patriarchy.
Well, something like that, surely.
Oh. Yeah.
You're still typing?
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing to Paolo. Taking offence is admitting an uncontrollable weakness. It is. It's all part of this fetishization of just the lack of self-control.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if there's lots of Central American or South American countries that actually play rugby. So
Argentina.
True that. And he would fit.
No, Argentina.
Because, and he would fit. That's what I'm saying.
Because they actually had a large Welsh community. And the Welsh took rugby.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad one. No, that's actually, seriously, that's not a bad one.
There are actually all kinds of countries that play rugby, so he could even go to Japan.
He'd absolutely slaughter them. He would. Now, let's be honest, he is one of... this is not the Colin Kaepernick of rugby.
No.
He is a good player.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, he's actually a good player.
I say he was the best player in Australian rugby. He was their top player.
So can you imagine how destroying it would be for him to go to Japan?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's true though, he could. And I doubt that in Japan they care about nonsense like that.
I don't think they do. They have slightly different attitudes.
Yeah, slightly.
It might be more of a problem that is Polynesian, to be honest.
I'm not sure.
The Japanese attitudes to even the Koreans and the Chinese has slaughtered millions.
Yeah, but did they do the same to the Polynesians? I mean, not counting the Second World War.
No, I just mean that if you're not Japanese. And I was comparing.
Oh yeah, I mean you can go there, but you'll not be a citizen. You'll be a guest.
Yeah.
Which, in all fairness, I don't care about. If I were to go to Japan for work or whatever, and Japan will treat me as a guest to their country, then I'm like, yeah, you know what? They're right.
Yeah, I mean, football players have gone to Japan.
Yeah.
I think it was Xavi, after he finished playing with Barcelona, went to play in Japan for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't consider it a negative thing to perceive that they would recognize, like, okay, you know what, you're a guest here, but you're not a citizen.
Yeah. Oh, I like this one. Sorry. Obviously, the gospel was offensive to a lot of people. It was offensive to me at one point. But that caused me to have a change of heart, to come to repentance and realize I was a sinner and needed a savior.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be offensive to a lot of people. But ultimately, it is a message of love.
Mm-hmm.
And of all people, the SJW should understand that, seeing as they are so hateful to people because they are so full of love.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. They're not...
No, I know. I was being sarcastic.
The SJWs only care about people as long as they have a control in what those people think. They are the useful idiots.
Full of shit, but they claim to be doing things out of love. They claim to be doing things out of compassion.
Yeah, but they're not. They're basically the useful idiots. They're the ones trying to tell you how to live your life, and if you don't do as they say, then yeah.
Which is what this whole episode is about, remember. It's all about somebody having an opinion that is so harmful. But hey, just remember, if Donald Trump implements Barack Obama's flight ban from primarily Muslim countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they throw gays off buildings.
Yeah, there is that.
That is bad by Donald Trump.
Well, he's not supposed to point it out.
It's Islamophobic. And you can't be Islamophobic even if more Islamic countries are against homosexuality than any other group of nations.
Yeah, how dare you point it out? There we go again. But that's what it's always somehow turns down to. I mean, you're okay to call out Christian bigotry, but only Christian bigotry.
Yeah. Well, I call them the bigots.
Well, they are
against Christians.
They are. There's no doubt about that.
What happened to tolerance, love, and acceptance?
Well, what about it?
Suddenly, it doesn't exist.
No, of course it doesn't, because it's my way or the highway. And
So,
yeah, you can't.
We exist in overwhelmingly Christian countries. We exist because they are overwhelmingly Christian countries.
Mm-hmm.
There is a direct causative link. And because they're majority, they're bad.
Yes.
That is literally their thinking. I mean,
Yes.
what the fuck?
And it's all about control. But it is all about control. It's.
Not only, I agree with Paolo, it's also about a weakness.
Is it about a weakness, though? I wonder.
Yeah, it is. It's about a weakness. So as I say, they cannot control themselves. It's like, okay, you might, I don't know what you like, but I do. I like cake, okay? I like cake.
Okay.
So, if every time I passed a cake shop, I went in and bought a cake because I just love cake so much and I can't resist.
Mm-hmm.
That would be weakness.
Yeah.
I'm actually having to do something to give in. I'm actually having to go in and make a purchase, but that is still weakness.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They react, that is an action, but they react because they have no strength over no control over their emotions, over their reactions.
Mm-hmm. True.
And that's why it's a weakness.
True.
Which is what I'm saying. So it's not merely about control, because many of them aren't doing it to control. They are acting to virtue signal, and they are reacting out of weakness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And it makes me, or it should make people wonder, why? I mean, it's all about control, but why? Why do they need to have that control?
No, it's about weakness. It's what I'm trying to say. It's because people are weak, and weakness has been fostered as a
positive
desirable quality.
Yeah, there is that. There is that.
You know, it's like this, right? Do you work on yourself, on your character, go to study hard, build up your life, or do you sit there at a keyboard and just virtue signal?
True.
Which one is harder?
No, that's true. That's true.
How do I compensate for the lack of meaning in my life? I know I'll be a good person on Twitter.
He didn't play soccer though, did he? Because
No,
Toxic
he
said
played
that.
rugby.
In rugby.
He played rugby. Sorry, why are you asking about soccer?
Because Ludacris. I thought he played soccer and played as in.
No, that was Toxic,
Yeah.
not ludicrous.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Ludacris? My bad.
Yeah.
Well, that was. But yeah, and it's amazing to me that now in the UK there's a group of people saying, "Oh, clutching my pearls because this might lose me some money."
Exactly, and that is what I find so disgusting. Because it's not... they're not reacting to events. They're anticipating events, thus making it... what's the word? It's when you do act and then it comes true because you acted.
Yeah. Which is disgusting. It is though. It
is. Thus my outrage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can understand that.
Sorry, I had to react to Ludicrous.
Why?
Because he said, I look nothing like Toxic. Then he put a frown. So I've said, you could try a blonde wig.
That might help.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Thank you, Ludicrous, yes.
That could help.
Well, it'll make him look more like Toxic. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well...
That with lots of makeup and dim avant-garde lighting.
No, you should try it sometimes, Ludacris. Maybe you and Toxic should co-op on a video with the dim lighting.
Yeah, but he doesn't show himself, so...
Well, even as a leprechaun.
Well, we can see the leprechaun.
Yeah. So there is that.
Are you saying
options are plenty?
Got a ginger beard?
Toxic's got a ginger beard?
Are you saying Toxic's got a ginger beard?
Well, I don't know. She might shave. Do you, Toxic? Oh, that's just silly. Nothing wrong with a ginger beard, by the way.
I'm not saying there is.
I'm saying there isn't.
Observing. Toxic doesn't have one.
Yeah, well.
Because Alicia isn't afraid to show her face. And of all of us, she's got a face worth showing.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, you don't count because you've never shown your face.
That's not true, but I try not to. I have a lovely wife who's going to... Well, she's not going to look pleasant on me showing my face. She really... It's kind of funny because first she wanted me to keep my face hidden because I might lose my job and blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's already happened. So
that's already happened. But still she rather have me hide my face.
Me too, Ludicrous. I have a face for radio too.
Face for radio, yeah. I know that feeling.
I'll stop sharing now, by the way.
Oh, so. Okay. Well, I'll turn off the screen sharing and I go back to Mr. Folau in one of his former glories. So, but yeah, no, that is a thing. Oh, sorry, sniff, sniff. Oh, I don't know why, but my eyes are absolutely annoyed. Must be allergies. Quite disturbing. So yeah, but how are things in the rest of the UK? By the way, I mean you've been.
Hey, guess what? The world didn't end. We still have food and medicine.
Yeah, but all those people with super gonorrhea, though. I mean, that must set you back a bit.
Trust me, at my age, and in my circumstances, that is nothing to do with me. There is zero risk of me catching any form, let alone a super one.
Yeah, I really didn't understand it. I mean, sandwiches would be gone and you would get super gonorrhea. And I'm like, okay, the sandwiches bit, I can somewhat understand because... No. I can somewhat understand it because, well, there is food that is being imported. Fair enough.
No, but not bread.
I know, but cucumbers...
Yeah, we don't care. You don't have to have cucumber in it.
On sandwiches, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. If I have a cheese sandwich, there is no cucumber involved.
Well, I mean, the people of the Royal Ascot might disagree with you.
I don't care about the people of the Royal Ascot.
I don't mind. I don't mind whether you care or not, but there is somewhat of a stretch to make it believable that sandwiches might be a little bit of a problem. But for the life of me, I can't understand how super gonorrhea would ever be a serious thing for a European country. I mean, you might leave the EU, but you're still in Europe. You're still a first world country.
No, we're not in Europe. We're offshore. And we'll stay offshore till I die.
You're still part of the continent, mate, whether you like it or not.
We're continent adjacent.
Well, you're stuck to the same tectonic plate, so...
Except for Scotland.
What do you mean, except for Scotland?
Scotland is technically a broken off part of the North American plate.
Is it?
It is.
I did not know that. Well, it's stuck to us now.
Yes, it's stuck to England, bloody Scots.
It's not my problem, it's your problem.
It's been our problem for 3,000 years.
Hi there, Real Raven, by the way. I didn't see you, come on. Oh, I'm not paying...
You just come in.
Yeah, I'm not paying that much attention, it seems. I'm sorry. Sniff.
Hello. You don't get gonorrhea, only crabs.
No, but I mean, how can you get super gonorrhea?
Oh...
I'm not even sure what super gonorrhea is.
It is the hyperbolic mutterings of a moron.
Well, yeah, there is that. That is true. But I mean, what the hell were they thinking?
No. No thought was involved in the utterance of that statement.
Yeah, that must have been true. It's so weird, though.
It just proves there are idiots about. True. We knew that. We knew there are idiots.
True that.
Some of them are deputy leader of the Labour Party, Diane Abbott.
Well, what's her name? Jess Phillips. Still haven't seen her run around with no knives. Promises.
That's because she's in Birmingham, which is a dangerous place to run around.
It's like gonorrhea, only better. But how would it be better? No, but I mean, yeah, Jess Phillips is... I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, but Jeremy Corbyn is everything that's wrong with the Labour Party. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that could be true.
Idiots. They're idiots.
But if we look at people like Jess Phillips... or indeed Diane Abbott, to me they are far worse than...
Yeah, but Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn have deep history.
They have what?
Going back to student days, they were lovers.
Oh, right, they have a history together.
No, okay. How's this for a super woke progressive, right? They were at a party. She was his black girlfriend. He showed her off naked to the other people. How the fuck that works, I don't know.
Now, I've had a lot of girlfriends in my life, or rather, more than a few. Let's not go a lot. Let's say just more than a few. But
none of them would have got naked for you.
Well, no, they would have gotten naked for me.
No, I said in public.
But not in. But I wouldn't even want them to be naked in public.
No, exactly.
I mean,
this is my point.
I knew a girl once, and in the end, we never got together because of her tendency. She had a bit of a how do you call that? Exhibitionistic streak.
Dreamer.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, but I didn't particularly fancy that. See, I'm using all the right words now, aren't I? Yes, I didn't fancy that. So yeah, that was that, and to me that was it was a genuine issue, and that's basically why we never got together. I can't understand. I mean, don't you, as a man, if you have a girlfriend, don't you want her to be yours?
This is why all the feminists have such a low opinion of men, because they only know progressives.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess you have to be a progressive for that.
No, it's like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe I was hearing about this anecdote that he'd done that and she'd gone along with it. It's like,
yeah,
they're my age. The feminists at that time didn't do that. They were like, fuck you, no.
Yeah.
But no, only an idiot would say Jeremy Corbyn was all that wrong with the Labour Party, because he got voted in twice.
Yeah, that's
Which means a large number of the members are also what's wrong with the Labour Party, just on his score alone. And don't get me started with the fucking feminists. The Blairites. In fact, the whole party.
It's amazing, though, don't you think?
See, we need proper Labour politicians like John Prescott, who punch people when they throw eggs at him. That's a proper politician.
Well, it's definitely a Labour politician, let's be honest.
No, it's a proper politician. That's what he wants. A working class grit lad.
Yeah. Paulo, gonorrhea has ISO 9001 certification. By leaving the EU, all quality legislation gets immediately abolished, and if mutates into super gonorrhea. Also, something about bleached chicken.
Yeah,
right.
That's a fear-mongering for a trade with the United States. I thought it was coronated.
It's kind of funny, though, because if we look at the whole idea of Project Fear, I mean, Project Fear is probably one of the most common political tactics to get people to do what you want them to do. It's not just about the European Union. There's so many things that they've been, well, basically using Project Fear on us. It's amazing, and somehow they get away with it. Don't know why, though.
Okay, Paolo, you said all quality legislation. So I riffed off of it and said there's no such thing as quality legislation, because in English, the quality is an adjective applied to legislation, which means it's the legislation which is quality, not legislation about quality. That's why I said there's no such thing as quality legislation, because there's no legislation that is of quality. It's all shit.
That's weird.
Sorry, I was just riffing off of it because
No, that's all
when
right.
I first read it, I just read quality legislation as all good legislation gets turned into super gonorrhea. And I thought, but there is no such thing as good legislation.
Well, the beer or the virus real? Oh, right. Bye, Nick. Have a nice Corona instead. Well, yeah, okay. And see you later, Nick, by the way. Enjoy all the super gonorrhea. I'm so glad I don't know how to spell the word properly.
Yeah.
Good point.
It is one of those words that no one knows how to spell. Every time, and it's not often, I try and spell diarrhea, I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
used to use
No,
the word
I cannot-
diarrhea in context of verbal diarrhea.
I can understand it, though. I can. Let's be honest, I can.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's why I use the word diarrhea. It's to do with verbal diarrhea, which is pretty much anything an SJW ever says.
Well, there is that. There is that.
Though some might accuse me of the same, in which case, if that's your opinion, that's fine.
Yeah, we can live with that.
Yeah, it's like I could take the odd insult. It doesn't offend me.
Much?
No, it doesn't. The insults don't offend me.
Well, it shouldn't, let's be honest. It's, I don't know, but is there a beer called gonorrhea?
I don't think
Ooh,
so.
that's something worth looking into.
I doubt it.
Yeah, me too, but... Oh, come on. Why is this... Oh, right, that's why. Ha ha ha. I so dislike Hangouts.
Yeah. Well, it used to be all right.
Okay, let's see.
That's how you spell it. Oh. Or just search for gonorrhea. The top result. I've got to share this. Seriously.
Okay, let me see then. Where are you?
That top result. Gonorrhea on Amazon. Low prices on gonorrhea.
Wait a sec. I'm going to share it with the good people at home. Because I haven't done that yet. And there you go. Good people at home. There are good prices for gonorrhea on Amazon.
On Amazon. Amazon are selling gonorrhea for low prices.
But you shouldn't look for gonorrhea. You should look for gonorrhea beer.
No, that's not the point.
Oh,
I was
right.
just looking how to spell it initially. And of course, we spell it properly and the Americans don't.
Well, I don't know. I love how Modwayne reads my replies to somebody else completely randomly. Yeah, I'm really good at that. I'm not so good at following the chat. I'm sorry. I should be better at it by now, but... Anyway, we're looking at gonorrhea beer.
Well, I haven't found anything.
Yeah, no, you should look at images.
Why?
Trust me.
Why?
Because...
I don't. Now I'm highly skeptical.
Well, because often, that's what I mean. See, then you get something, and it might sometimes be better than looking...
Well,
not always.
It's not... Oh, this is a remedy. Gonorrhea gleet. Whatever a gleet is.
I don't know.
No, neither do I. I thought this was a whiskey label at first when I saw it.
That would be a good one as well. Gonorrhea beer, Milwaukee's best. Yeah, what? Oh, yeah, you go. Yeah, that's just coasters.
Oops. Yes. Oh, damn it. Yeah, so this one, it's a bit small. It says pubic lice in the
Right.
shape of a whiskey bottle. And
And
it
then
says, in
there's
the morning, a bad headache could be the least of your worries.
we've got chlamydia vodka and genital herpes vodka.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't see what the
Oh,
other
and
one
that
is.
looks like a Budweiser label, and it says hepatitis.
Right. Okay.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah, the Milwaukee Best. It's brilliant though. Gonorrhea beers, Milwaukee's Best. See, that's why you look at it with imagery. It's really
Yeah,
funny.
but you also get
Well, you get a lot of trash, obviously. Yes.
gonorrhea, hard to spell, easy to catch. I like that one.
Gleet are the plural of glute, of course. Glute. No, they're not. It's just like feet is plural of foot.
Oh, that is sexist.
You may think she's just your gal, but she may be everyone's pal. Yeah, that's the thing with venereal diseases and all that. Yeah. Prevention works. Temperance. That's an interesting name for a beer, but I doubt it's a beer.
It says
Cream-
dry hot cream ale.
Ale. Cream ale.
5.9 alcohol by volume, so it's not no alcohol.
That is true, but cream ale. Cream ale. I don't think I've ever had anything like that.
No.
Well, there is that then.
Yeah.
Ichabod. New Holland Brewing Company's Halloween-themed Ichabod pumpkin. Pumpkin beer?
Yeah, it's not really beer, is it? Unless you're Belgian.
No, not even if you're Belgian. You have to be an American for that kind of crap.
No, but they have what they call them, lambics. which have all
Lambic,
kinds-
yes. But no, they don't have lambic, how do you call it, pumpkin.
No, but they have all kinds of foul.
Yeah, no, you got lambic in all sorts of berry forms, of course. Fruits. But, no,
Pumpkin. No, not pumpkin.
not pumpkin.
The only good thing for a pumpkin is being carved out and the inside thrown away.
Yes, and then put outside to let it rot.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid that gonorrhea beer is a bust.
Yeah, I'm going to go with ludicrous for a moment. Bailey's has beer in it. Has cream in it. But Bailey's isn't a beer. But I used to work behind the bar, and we sometimes did funny things. Have you ever done beer in Bailey's or Bailey's in beer? It looks disgusting. It curdles up and all that. So
No, but why would you? Seriously.
for the fun
Why?
of it, I just told you.
The fun of it.
Yeah.
No, those words don't compute with the concept you just explained.
No, that's because you don't understand. I can't help you.
I
but
do. You have beer and you drink the beer. You have a glass of something else, you drink that. You do not ever mix them
Why not?
because you have taste.
Maybe, but still.
Oh, jeez. Never going on a pub crawl with you, matey.
Yeah, my prop crawling days are over as well, don't worry.
Yeah. So now we're on to a proper subject.
Are we? Okay.
What you sharing?
Have I ever drank mouseberry? I'm just looking gonorrhea as well, but it's gonorrhea beer. But you got more nice stuff than I did, so yeah, enough of that.
Yes. English DuckDuckGo is better than Dutch DuckDuckGo.
I wouldn't call it better, but... Well, no, I mean, let's be honest. DuckDuckGo is just how you set it up. I can look in England or in the UK, on the USA or in the Netherlands or in Hong Kong. You can change your
settings.
Yeah.
No, it was a joke, mate. Seriously.
All right.
It was a joke. The term better is a meaningless subjective nonsense.
Google Mausen here.
No, thank you. I think we are quite happy to not Google anything anymore.
All right, we won't then.
No, me. I won't. Sorry, you.
That's all right.
You do you.
That's all right. Oh, damn it! Hear me yawning. So
I think we've done the topic to death.
Yeah, we've done the topic. It's still
Everyone
the background, though. Yeah, we bugger off. Didn't even say bye. Aww.
We have 5. And me and you.
And in all fairness, I'm still a little bit under the weather. Damn it to hell! I had a flu 2 weeks ago, and I'm still.
Yeah, I told you the flu takes 2 weeks. You wouldn't believe me.
It never did before. This is the first time.
I'm flu before, not real flu.
I've had real flu before. Come off it. But yeah. And today was a dreadful day anyway. Went to the dentist this morning. Then barely slept. And night real. See you next time, mate. I think it's a good time to call it quits. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's what I was hinting at. We've been going an hour and a half.
Yeah, true that. Oh,
so yeah.
Good people. I'm probably going to do this next week or soonish anyway. There will be a live stream about Extinction Rebellion.
So book your holidays now.
Yeah. Well, but don't dare take a plane. Or a boat, or a car.
I'm not taking anything. I might pay to go on one, but I'm not taking it.
I'm going. Well, I've been holidaying for years on La Balconia, so that's okay. It's a good place to go to. Anywho, I still can't tell the difference between rugby union and Rugby League. In all fairness, Paolo, nor can I.
Well, of course not, because you're uncivilized countries who don't play it.
Or, I'm just putting it out there, we simply don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably the latter.
No, but not playing in your country is a significant factor.
Well, we play rugby in this country. And
why, when, where, and how?
I don't know. I mean, I had a colleague who played rugby.
I know someone who played
in the weekends.
That doesn't mean it's a sport familiar to the mass of people.
No, it's not a sport familiar to the masses of people because most people in the masses don't care.
That's what I said.
Because it's
so
a silly
when I said
sport.
You don't play, I didn't mean not a single person in the country. I meant it's not a mainstream sport.
Right. Well, you should have said that that's what you meant.
I should have. You are quite correct.
Anywho.
One up to Modway. I will give him that free of charge. It was a fair cop. You got me banged to rights.
So there is that. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to try to do next Wednesday on the Extinction Rebellion and where they come from and who they are. And
a bunch of commie bastards.
Yes, how red they really are, because they are pretty red, to be honest. It's quite...
watermelons.
They are... No, they're not even watermelons.
Well, they pretend to be watermelons.
Yes, they pretend to be watermelons. A watermelon is green on the outside, red on the inside. These guys aren't even green on the outside. Because, and this is something, and you've seen them going to places with the huge trucks.
Well, moderate. The feminists have never cared about equality, and they still claim it. And it's still believed by too many people.
Yeah, there's still people who kind of allow them to keep doing that. Quite annoying, true that.
Repeat a lie often enough.
Yeah, that is true. Wish it weren't so, but that is true. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, it's us, Italy, Spain, and Argentina. Nobody else cares.
I think he's talking about rink hockey.
Rink hockey.
I thought he meant ice rinks. I just thought he meant ice hockey.
What's a rink hockey?
Something that's only played in Italy, Spain, Argentina, and Portugal, so nobody else cares about it.
Rink hockey. Now I want to know what it is.
You can always Google it.
Rink hockey.
Are you sure it's not rank hockey?
What? I mean, I don't know. It looks like ice hockey.
Well, that's because you play ice hockey on an ice rink, which is why I thought he meant ice hockey. But obviously not in those countries. It's hockey indoors with skates.
Right, okay. So it's...
I thought that the Americans did.
Yeah. No, that's it's it's this. Let me see if I can share it with you. Good people.
Yeah, roller hockey. Yeah,
it's roller hockey.
Yeah, well, if you'd said that, sorry.
Yeah, it's just ice hockey for people that don't have ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's see if any other. Go rink hockey. No, this is not. This is ice rink hockey. This is also. Well, I mean, considering that I can find quite a bit on it on the interwebs, it's something. Apparently, it's something.
Yeah.
Try roller hockey.
Yeah, I tried roller hockey.
Well, didn't I just find rink hockey? Wasn't that good enough?
I don't know. I tried roller hockey, and it's got an entry of rink hockey, and then an entry for roller hockey on the page and the variants.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Fair enough. It's basically the same thing. Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. And there's no fighting like ice hockey. Well, I never understood, but that's part of the game. But I don't understand why it's part of the game.
The spectacle.
Yeah.
If you watch the Olympic ice hockey, which I do like,
then you don't see it at all.
There's very little fighting.
Yeah,
because they're trying to win.
Yeah, and if you fight, you
get
don't
thrown off the ice. And
yeah, indeed.
Penalty. So apparently we've got 9 teams in England who play rink hockey.
Apparently then. Next time I'll show you Icelandic motorsports. Actually, did you know that there's motor racing over water? And when I mean over water, I don't mean there's a little bit of water and you're driving through the water. No, you're actually going over a lake. How amazing is that? If you don't go fast enough, you will literally sink. Funny sports. Can you imagine doing that and then running out of gas halfway?
According to this, Paolo, it says rink hockey has been played in 60 countries worldwide.
All right, well. Anywho, guys, I'd like to thank you all for coming.
Yes. Me too.
No. I mean, Paolo, tractors with large tires, that's for the 4-wheel drive. There are 2-wheel drive as well. It's cool. Anyway, I'm not going to start all over again. I'd like to thank you all for coming. And John will do Saturday. I hope John will do Saturday. I probably won't be here coming Saturday because
He has a life. And I don't, and he knows he can rely on me, and that's fine.
Well, I don't have much of a life, but I do have something then. So there is that. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us. John, you want to have something to say?
Yeah, no, just thank you for joining.
Well, all right. Well, in that case, see you all next time. Bye-bye.